Alrighty, T34-1, it's +1 game, and pretty similar comps. They're slightly heavier. And you can really go either way. It seems like Wargaming has really tried to encourage play along the outside of the swamp. So you can go along this JK line, or you can go along this 9-0 line if you want. It seems like both of them are reasonably effective. I think you should probably look more at the comp of the enemy team when deciding, since enemy heavies spawn a little bit more on this side, so they tend to go this way, whereas the mediums tend to spawn on this side, and they'll tend to go this way. So if the enemy has a lot of mediums, then you can expect to see a lot of guys there usually. Not always. If they have a lot of heavies, you can expect to see a lot of guys down there. I don't think that there's a real solid pubby meta for this, since they made changes to this map, so it's a little bit difficult to predict in that sense. I don't think you want to drive out into this middle area here. I think you want to be more on this 9 line, or more on the west side of the 9 line, or in the 0 line. I don't think it's really profitable to drive up through here unless you're going to come like basically to where this Panther 2 is, or down in here. So there's 69, went south with the IS-3, so that's one less guy that you'll see up here. And so this isn't a very good situation for you. It's just you're basically going to end up peeking out at people. It's not really what you want. But basically you can flank through here, but these flanks are really vulnerable, which is something that I don't like about the way that Wargaming changed this map, is that they basically funneled everything to be a head-on confrontation, so there's very little flanking. You should be more concerned with the SC-100Y. It's going to come back over here. So basically you're just poking and peeking here. And the 416 is rather soft, so you can shoot the 416 pretty much anywhere. You could also push to the back side of this area over here and see if you can get shots on the Comet. Because your guys are kind of vulnerable. Let's see where your Panther 2 and your SU-100Y are at. You have enough guys behind you that you could push forward here. Because you're not really getting any good shots, right? You got a bunch of guys here. So if you push forward there, you can get shots down that way, and you force these guys to deal with you in some way. You probably should have, like when he's tracked out there, just make sure you get a full aim. See how they managed to wrap around you though? Just too long. So turn around already. You're gonna have to turn around because they're gonna come up behind you guys. Man, the aim time on this tank. I wouldn't worry about that guy. You can save your teammate still. Well, potentially. You need to actually move forward here. because you're basically vulnerable to artillery. And you want to kind of hug him there. He's a rather tall tank, so he's going to have difficulties trying to... That's fine. And then I would just stay back for now. You can let him come to you. Just try to shoot the drive wheel there, because you can get him tracked in a position where he doesn't have enough gun depression to shoot you. Nice work. They have another 34-1 over. You know that they already shot. You should actually go south and see if you can help your other guys. Like, there's not a whole lot of incentive for you to push here because you're one shot to everything, but you still have some incentive to try to keep these guys alive. I'm not sure why you stop there. I mean, their tanks are going to be on that far side over there. You don't have a chance to really brawl any of these guys. You need your artillery to be able to land shots, and so that's why you want to be able to be in a position where you can help them. Switch to HE. Oh, you should have taken that shot. There's no reason for you to not take that shot. And so all they have to do is put cap pressure on you. You could have stayed in that position, sort of. Eventually they're gonna, that other T-34-1 is gonna come up behind you. Alright. So that's fine. So you came up here. It didn't really look like you knew where you were going. You were playing on the 0 line, and that was okay at the start. But once they sort of established position here, you're basically just trying to poke and peek and shoot at them. Your guys over here got caught out, and you potentially could have helped them. You pushed in here a little bit late when they were already coming around your back door, and you should have been coming back this way to help your guys from behind, because basically they were able to get behind your guys. So you were doing a lot of driving around where you weren't really actually helping your team. And a lot of the game is just trying to preserve your teammates' health, and not necessarily by throwing your body in front of them, although if you can do that, then fantastic. But really by being in a position to preempt people, preempt these guys from pushing around and getting to a position where they can get shots into the backs of your guys really easily. You should have been there waiting already for these guys. As soon as they came around, you start shooting at them. It makes it difficult for them to drive up here. Otherwise, I thought it was more or less okay. I just try to think of things less in terms of, oh, there's a object 416, when the object 416 is over here. Okay, so all I got to do is just fixate on him and focus on getting shots over there. And then when they moved up here, okay, fixate on them getting shots up here. not even paying attention to what's happening on the southwest of the map. You should have been paying attention to what was happening right here, because that was a pretty important confrontation that you potentially could have assisted your team in. Alright, so if we look at the stats, you didn't get a whole lot out of your team, unfortunately, but them's the breaks. But you did pretty well in the 234-1. Some of your shots were a little bit hurried, and you could have taken a little bit more time on it, but otherwise, overall, pretty good. I'm not sure that there's much more that you could have done for that team. But again, the overall overarching point is try to keep those guys that you're with alive for as long as you possibly can. GG, nice try. I will send you a code through the official forums. And the next is a 9.8 replay. No, looks like it is working. Some of these old replays on the old client have been a little sketchy. We'll see if there's any like visual bugs or anything. Alrighty, so M4 Sherman, top tier, Live Oaks. Man, it's certainly taking its sweet time to load. Oh, there it goes. And so on Live Oaks, particularly in the M4 Sherman, you could play up through these buildings right here, but I don't really feel that's that great of a place to play, and seeing as how you have the derp. I wouldn't necessarily want to do that. I like playing over in this area right here, deny the bridge, try to force them to do something silly on that side.
Let's get this show on the road.
Whenever you're running the howitzer on a lot of these tanks, you want to try to have as close range of an engagement as possible. That's usually to your advantage. You're not trying to snipe with this. And so you don't have any intel, so you need to peek over there at some point. A lot of people go and hide in this bush that's right, I think it's right there. The bush that you're hiding in is not, you're not really going to spot anything until it's too late, so you're not really going to get a shot at anything. So this is where I like to play, where you're basically where you're at right now, because you can spot things that are coming down this area, up top over there. You can't really spot them if they come low, but you don't really have a whole lot of support over here. That guy's going to be a somewhat difficult shot. Ah, that looked like it was almost good. Oh well. So you can actually go down in here. I would peek up through the bush side over here just to see if anything is pushing up. Because we see their tanks in town, but that's not all their tanks, right? At least half of their tanks are still unaccounted for. So I would peek up as soon as possible so you can try to figure out if there's anyone there. They might all be hiding back here, and if so, that, you know, fantastic, works to your advantage. Right, you're losing in town slowly. And you want to be careful crossing over this side, right where you're at. It's just not a very good side to be in.
Gotcha.
Herp derp. There's a black prince over there. And so, like, for example, for that T-67, it would have been easier to spot that guy by going under the bridge through the other side.
Critical hit.
So I would probably start moving back over here. You can get shots on this Stug. It's not you're not. You can get shots on that guy still. You tried to shoot him before. Why wouldn't you try to shoot him now? It's just not a very good sniping gun. You want to hang out here too long because otherwise you're going to get hit by artillery. You can actually potentially clear this out, but I would still worry more about the base side. So I would shoot the M8 first. Looks like their AT2 and the PZ Soufflé are still back there. I'm probably being a little bit too cautious here. Just go around and kill that guy. Whichever one you see first at this point. They're both going to be right there. Just take the hit from him in order to kill him. It'll be worth it.
Enemy armor is destroyed.
Alright, and then bail. And then go back all the way over here, because you're going to need to stop this other side, right? AT2 is not very mobile, and he hasn't been lit in a while. This guy may or may not come off of that side, but what you want to be able to do is you want to close that gap. You don't want to be having to cross across a large distance in order to get to those guys. So if you can find some way to, like, you know, ferret out that M3 Lee, for example, that would be really useful for your team. Oh, there he is. Don't worry, he'll drive out all the way out. No, so why are you aiming where you're aiming right now? Yeah, aim a little bit more to the right. No, a little more to the right. No, a little more to the right. There's nothing that you can do to save that SU-122A. You can kill that guy. So you need to close that gap a little bit. You don't want to be at range against these guys, sniping with the howitzer. And so the best thing to do is just to come up all the way over here and get into this area right here, because from this range you're good. And you need to get going. Oh my gosh, get going. Right, the two guys are on the cap. The AT2 might be coming, but the AT2 still won't be here for a while. If you allow the AT2 to get all the way over here, that's going to be way too late. So you'd rather shoot the tank destroyer in this case, but it doesn't really matter. You just need to light the cap.
Target acquired. Ready to fire. Got him. Target acquired.
No, there's no reason for you to sit out there right now. No reason.
Target unlocked. Critical hit.
Lol, he just shot an HE shell at you. So you want to keep going to where you're actually already safe. I wouldn't worry too much about resets right now. You've got bigger problems. Like these people that are trying to shoot you. Okay. And then now what you can do is you can leave, come back, and what you want to do is circle around maybe under this low ground over here, because the AT-2 presumably is headed out this way. If you can figure out where he's at, then great. If not, then oh well. You don't want to hide back here. This is a bad place to hang out. And that's fine. Depending on what the AT-2 decided to do, that's okay. I mean, he might be headed towards the cap. You want to hang out up here so that you can at least see, have a chance to potentially spot him. Like, there wasn't any reason why you couldn't drive along this railroad track like you're doing now, except further back along there, so that you could have seen him if he was crossing there. Right? And then if you get lit, you just duck down. Or if you see him. It's not like the AT-2's got like super spotting range. Oh.
Critical hit.
Okay, and then you just want to turn around and run here. Like, just turn around and run. There's no reason to try to take this guy frontally. Just turn around and run. So they have one of their artillery on your cap. You still don't want to try to take this guy on frontally. Just there's no reason. Also, you pulled off that shot early. If you're gonna stick around, you might as well get a good shot. But so the artillery is aiming at you. At least one of their artillery is aiming at you from this position over here. So keep that in mind. Okay, so that was both of the artillery. You can still just turn around and run at this point. It's really not that big of a deal. He's gonna slowly charge you. Oh. He's gonna reload way before you. Oh my god. And then what you want to do is you want to just get up over here on this side. You don't want to get too close to the sexton. You just want to have an angle to shoot at him. Took just a little bit too long with the AT-2. So the biggest problem was that you engaged that AT-2 frontally when you really didn't need to, especially when you knew that they had somebody on cap. It would have been really easy for you to outrun the AT-2, just go and kill this guy and then run away, right? So it's never really to your benefit to try to take that on frontally. I'm not entirely sure what your artillery was doing, because he could have shot the AT-2 as well. He could have just sat down there and kept shooting him, but he didn't. But them's the breaks. But you needed to go back. There wasn't really any reason for you to fight the AT-2. Otherwise, I thought you were okay. I thought it was a little bit too passive over here. Once you finally moved down into the ditch, you did okay. Once you moved up, to see that there was nothing there, you got to try to find to get shots. You don't necessarily need to drive over the tracks like you did, but if you wanted to see where that T-67 was, you could have just driven out over here just to peek up. You would have spotted him, and then you could have shot him or gone whatever and gone back down. You would have been a lot safer than driving over these tracks. And as a general rule of thumb, you don't want to ever drive on top of here from either side. It's just, it opens you up to getting shot from too many places. But I really felt like that was a winnable game. All you really have to do is just go back there. Whenever you have a significant speed advantage on another tank, just remember, you always can dictate the engagement. That's the advantage of being the fast tank against the slow tank, is that you always get to say, we're going to fight now, or we're not going to fight now. And if it's not super advantageous for you to fight now, then don't. You know, you don't have to. There's no reason for you to have to fight that. So, you know, keep that in mind when you're up against a slow tank like that, especially when they've still got artillery active, because you could have very easily been popped by their artillery as well. And so if we look at the stats, not bad. I mean, in low tier games, like, the low damages happens a lot, so it's not totally atypical. Their team didn't do fantastically either, other than their souffle. Not bad overall. It was a little bit too snipey with the herp derp, but some of it was warranted and some of it wasn't. GG, nice try though. I will send you a codes through the official forums. Alrighty, and the next one will be an awesome mouse game, because why not? Sorry, I still have a little bit of backed up sinuses here. Alrighty, so mouse game on Karelia. And so they basically even out the size of the map. You can go to either side of the map. I still don't really think the north is that super playable, just simply for the reason that whoever wins this side, this is kind of like Redshire, the zero line of Redshire. Whoever wins over here, and it's a fairly interesting place to play, but whoever wins over here then has to drive across a large open area, right, down either this one line or this A line to get to the next area, and it's really easy to just shoot them up as they cross through there. So I still think that the south is probably more playable, pertinent, relevant, whatever you want to call it. And they've got a reasonable amount of speed, so they can take it, but they sort of changed a lot of this terrain down here to make it so that the slower tanks will be a little bit more relevant on this map.
It's a trap!
When I'm in a slow tank, I don't like necessarily. You want to try to stay as far to the east as possible. Doesn't look like it's going to cost you. Your T-54 is going to die in the middle though, because they've got snipers on that northwest. So it doesn't look like they sent a whole lot here as of yet. Oh, there's the E-100.
It's a trap!
Der ging nicht durch.
And that's fine. You can sit on this corner for a while. You've got a lot of your team on the other side.
It's a trap!
I'm not sure why you pointed your gun out there, but whatevs, to each his own. You can shoot that. You can totally shoot that. Oh. You can shoot that. Oh. You can shoot that. There you go.
Durch ihre Panzerung.
It's a trap!
Good job. Nice to don't stare. It's not polite to stare. So that was good. Hopefully your guys will be able to win on that other side. They've got a lot of their weight tied up here, but it looks like your guys aren't trading super efficiently. But they have so much weight on this south that it's kind of hard to imagine you guys not winning on that north. Especially since these guys over here can shoot at these positions right there. Like this T-54 is vulnerable. All this 50B doesn't really look like he's shooting over there. And this IS-4 certainly isn't, but I don't think that IS-4 is super good. I think you're doing pretty much the only thing that you can, which is try to hold these guys in place, because they can potentially push over here. I don't know why your 268 decided to move up there. That's not a very good position for him. You don't want to poke into 4, 5, 6, 7 guns in order to get one shot. It's just not ever really going to work to your advantage.
It's a trap!
Wir haben sie nicht mal angekratzt.
Lols. Oh, you can totally get that shot. Little bit too much hesitation. I'm surprised that their north has lived that this long.
It's a trap!
I think that's the guy that was shooting HE at you. Oh man, your guys are leaving the north. Well, I guess we'll see what they do. You still don't really have a good chance at this side. No, he's not back there. He's just a little bit outside of your detect range. I'm not entirely sure what your team is doing in general. Like, these guys should... Well, this T-54 should have been dead a long time ago, when he was hanging out in this lane right there. The T-62A is behind a rock for these guys, but there's no reason why he can't get pushed. I mean, we know the E3 is still in the base side someplace.
It's a trap!
And so this is a sort of a part in the game where you're going to have to make something happen eventually, because your team is just throwing this game pretty hard. You're not really doing enough. Right? These guys don't have to do anything to win the game. They're already winning the game, right? So it's you know, your team is up against the wall. And so you want to be able to try to take this opportunity, right? You want to see when the game just starts sliding out of, you know, a place where you have a chance to win it, and you want to try to keep yourself within that. And it's one of two things is going to happen. You're either going to accelerate that slide, right, or you're going to pull it out. But you can't do nothing. If it's already going downhill, it's not going to magically get better.
It's a trap!
Well, the good news is they finally got that T-62 down. Bad news is that T-95 is just owning you. The 50B will detect the T-95.
Wir haben sie böse erwischt.
Oh, did you just load HE?
It's a trap! It's a trap!
So eventually they're going to move up around the side. And you should have taken that opportunity to at least get a shot. I don't think you're going to be able to draw it with 7 minutes left in the game.
It's a trap!
And so you still want to be in a position where, well, you want to stop shooting HE at these guys. You want to be in a position where you can see them a little bit further out than that.
Wir haben sie böse erwischt.
Oh, let's stop with HE.
Erwischt.
So you want to be a little bit further up where you can see them before they come around
It's a trap!
Verloren. Wir sind bewegungsunfähig.
there. That will also give your 50B something to basically hide behind.
Wir haben sie nicht mal
It's a
angekratzt.
trap!
And once again, you need to be a little bit aggressive here, not because the situation, not because the tactical situation calls for it, but because the game calls for it. If you can't get this guy down quickly, you're going to lose the game. It is guaranteed to lose this game. If you can potentially get this guy down, then you have a chance.
Feuer brennt. Wirkungstreffer. Gegnerfahrzeug ausgeschaltet.
Little dat T-95. You can shoot him under the gun too, don't...
Träger.
Nice. And like, you don't want to be in that, like playing from this side.
Geschossen. Wir stecken fest.
Run, mouse, run! He bounced his AP up. Oh.
Wir sind erledigt. Raus hier. Alright, so
what was the problem? So I don't think there was really that much of a problem early on. You moved up over here, and you were in a position. They had a bunch of their tier 10s, a lot of their high tier tanks over here. And your team sent a lot of tanks to the north. You had the hill, so that they had lanes of fire, particularly to like where that T-54 was. The big problem, or what I want to talk about from this replay is simple. So you're on what I would call the weak side, right? You don't have very many forces. They have a lot of forces. You're in the weak side. It's a weak play for you to try to push that, right? The strong play is to go with the numbers where you have terrain, right? We have crossfire from the hill into these areas. That's the strong play, the strong side. So whenever you're playing on the weak side, you have to watch what's happening over here. And at a certain point, particularly when you're in really slow tanks like the Mouse, or let's say the T-95 or something like that, you can't reposition to help those guys, right? There was nowhere that you could go that was going to help those guys on the north, because by the time you trundled all the way over here, the match would have been over. But you do need to do something. And so when you start seeing the game slipping away from your team, when you're sitting there watching your guys do, not enough damage, taking too much damage, you're losing tanks over there. It took them way too long to kill that. I think it was a T-62A that was right here, and a T-54 that was right here. It took them way too long to kill those two guys, when they didn't really have a whole lot out there, right? They had some snipers in their base, and that was it. When you see the game start to slip away like that, don't stand pat. You cannot play the weak side. You cannot continue to play the weak side weakly. You need to do something, whether that's trying to find a way to push in through here, or just literally driving up on this hill, driving down here, and just trying to get through on that side. You have to do something if the game is slipping away, and that's something that you need to recognize when you're on the weak side. And so even though it isn't a very good play, sometimes you have to try to make something happen, because otherwise it's just going to slip away from your team, and you need to be careful that you don't allow that to happen. Otherwise, I thought you played it pretty well. One other note is like when you moved back here, like when their IS-7 was moving up, you should have been a little bit more forward so that you could have seen the IS-7 come around here, get a free shot of damage as he comes around, and you have intel because right, how long it takes them to get there, right? So if you played a little bit more forward, you would have been able to get that intel and know right away. As it ended up happening, he drove around the corner and you guys surprised each other, right? And that's not what you want. You want to surprise him. You don't want to have you both be surprised, or you don't want to be the only one surprised, right? You want to be the one that surprises him. And so if you were up a little bit more forward, you could have seen him as he came around, gotten a free shot of damage, and backed off. And then by the time he got up to you again, you would have been reloaded. So that's one other thing. Otherwise, I thought you did pretty well. I mean, you got a little bit lucky with bouncing some of the shots, like the FE-183 was just a bad shot on you and things like that. But you need those types of things to happen. So you did block a lot of damage. I think some of your shots, well, I think you forgot that you had HE loaded. Well, let's pretend like you forgot that you had HE loaded. So you were firing HE for a while. You want to try to avoid firing HE pretty much ever in a Mouse. There's no real reason to do it. You obviously had no problem with firing APCR since you were firing APCR at the beginning. I would just keep firing the APCR. There's pretty much nothing that or it's difficult to find things that you won't be able to pen with that APCR. Even you'll get better overall damage if you fire all APCR than if you fire all HE. Otherwise, I thought your angling and positioning was pretty good. So GG, nice try. I will send you a codes through the official forums. Alright, and the last one will be an AMX 30B game. And then, so from the north spawn, you definitely want to play the 3 line in a 30B. There's not really any place else that you're going to be useful. I still see a lot of people camping back on this hill right here. It's not really useful until their team actually pushes in further. You want to be up here, and then if their team, if they have a lot of enemies on this side and they push in, then you just, that's a position that you can fall back to. But otherwise, I think you want to avoid, you know, sitting too far back where you're not able to actually shoot guys on the front line. And you've got a bunch of light tanks, so potentially they can play the 3, but the 30B is not a fantastic tank to play the 1 line on, just because it doesn't really have any armor. Looks like your light tanks are actually going to go spot though, which is fantastic. So this guy committed, the T-62A committed.
It's a trap!
You want to be careful. You want to see how you stopped moving to turn there. You want to avoid that because that makes it really easy for me to hit you with artillery. So even if you're turning, keep moving.
It's a trap!
And so you don't need to keep moving in a straight line to avoid artillery. You do want to avoid stopping like that, but you don't need to move in a straight line. Just literally rock back and forth. Right? Keep getting your shots. But you want to rock back and forth laterally to where you think the artillery is. So if you think the artillery is right here, which usually they are, you just want to keep yourself 90 degrees to that and rock back and forth as much as you can. And then see how you've got a bunch of your teammates back here? That's not that great. You left this 0 line open. I think that's totally fine. You have an E100 and A1. That's not so good, but that guy was going to go to A1 no matter what. He was like, I'm gonna make sure this area is safe. I still think you need to focus on getting these guys down right here. They're starting to push up this 1 line. So this is what I don't like about. So in general, I like when my team doesn't send anybody to this side. I think it's really easy to defend this cap from this position right here. But you haven't established anything on the 1 line at all. So see how they pushed up through this 1-3? Like that's perfect because this is where you get the overlap, right? So if they're in F1 and F3, then they can cover each other well, right? And as they sort of move up, they're allowed to cover each other. It's not like this E100 is back here where, you know, he won't really get shots on anything. Now, if you look at your team, on the other hand, for the most part, these guys have not gotten a single shot in this game yet. Up until the E100 starts to pass through into this E1 area, they'll start getting shots. But, you know, it's been, you know, 2 minutes into the game. You've already lost a tier 10, right? So there's already been an extended engagement, and these guys are waiting. They're still waiting for something to shoot at, and that's sort of a problem. And so you actually need to fall back off of your positions because there's no way that you're going to be able to hold this. And you want to be, you don't want to be on this side of the hill. You can get just the same shot from this side of the hill and you'll be much safer. Well, the good news is they haven't pushed you yet. The bad news is your team's not in a very good position. So you still need to get out of this ditch. It's just going to be way too easy for them to yellow you. Oh look, your E100 is on the move. So this is the interesting thing, is that counterplay, right? Going north to south, right? F1, F3, they're pushing up through those areas. They get coverage on each other. Their E100 continue pushing forward, which is not a super great idea, as you might have surmised. Now, in the counter push, if this E100 goes down here, right, he'll start getting better and better shots on these guys as he starts progressing over here. And then all you have to do is keep those guys lit. Of course, I don't think your E100 is a very good player because, you know, we saw him back in A1. But that's the sort of advantage of playing 1-3, is that they are allowed to cover each other really easily. And you want to be careful pushing around this side. You'd rather push over at this point, just into that area. I don't know. I don't know where your E100 is going, but like he could have shot a lot of these guys. No, he just shot somebody. Oh, he shot at the waffle.
It's a trap!
Oh, I would finish him off. Don't worry about him. Don't worry about him. Just back off. You still got a little bit of a disadvantage over here. You can still go over on these guys whenever you want. See how they're starting to come around? You gotta be paying attention to that. See how they're starting to come around on your guys? You can't let them do that. Like, that JPE is not nearly as important as saving these guys over here. Luckily, they came over a little bit piecemeal.
It's a trap!
And then push and clear these guys. Bully, bully, bully.
It's a trap!
Yeah, you still got a full health T62A over there. No, don't sit out here. That guy's not going to be worth it. So unfortunately, both of the bad E100s went down without much of a fight. So you could have had a better chance to take out that guy. Unfortunately, you did not. JPE shot that guy for 28 damage. And then you want to be a little bit careful here. I don't know what your 1375 is doing. So you want to bail off of this area. Your T62A was like camping this side until he was actually needed to scout the weak side, and then he stopped.
It's a trap!
Oh, that WZ-131 is going to be a pain in the ass. Should have killed him while you had the chance. You got to be careful going up here because the JPE-100 is going to get through there. You need to get some damaging shots out here, though. Like, your guys are gonna die there, so you should try to either kill this Tiger 2. Like, I'm not. You're like camping this WZ-131 for some reason. You're allowing yourself to get encapsulated.
It's a trap!
Alright, that's fine. They're still kind of spread out. I would try to take them out one at a time while they're still spread out as quickly as you can. You know the JPE is probably headed in your direction. The 30 is the only one with any appreciable speed. You can't really avoid the cap, because if they go to cap, then you're not going to be able to get back in time. Like if the T-34 and the Tiger 2 just go to cap right now, then you're boned. You know, so you want to be somewhere in this area. I don't really think taking out the artillery is going to help you that much. There's the 30. If he doesn't light you,
It's a trap!
Oh, he let you at the end. The artillery is going to be right over this ridge right here.
Cible verrouillée. Je les vois plus. On les tient, les gars. Il est cuit.
The 30 is going to push you. You want to try to get a shot on the way in if you can.
It's a trap!
Canon principal endommagé. Perte de précision.
Yeah, you're not going to want to hang out there because the JPE is probably about right here by now. You want to force him to have to chase you, where you can get shots on him as he's chasing into you. So like you can set up right here, force him to come over here, get a shot on him as he comes around.
Ils sont touchés.
It's a trap!
On les tient, les gars.
Ooh, that was kind of a lucky shot.
Celui-là ne va percer. Je l'ai
Lol.
endommagé.
Doubles. You'll reload before him.
On l'a eu.
If they just put the Tiger 2 on cap, just one of those guys went on cap. And then, so the JPE is still going to be coming in on this side, so he's probably going to be at the river by now, probably. Somewhere in that range. Presumably these guys are all coming back because nobody's on cap. So that's good for you. You need to try to spot them as they come in
It's a
here.
trap!
Cible verrouillée. Ils sont seulement touchés. Je les vois plus.
It's always nice when they come in one at a time. Such honor.
It's a trap!
Prêt à faire feu. Je les tire. Ils ont cassé une de nos chenilles. On est coincés. Je les vois plus. Ils sont touchés. Allons-y.
You have very weird decisions about when you go into sniper mode and when you don't.
Véhicule ennemi hors de combat.
Oh no, here comes the T-34. He's like, okay, Tiger 2's dead. Alright, my turn. Here we go. I think it's a similar situation. You just want to be in an area where you can force him to have to come across a plane to get to you.
Celui-là n'a pas percé.
It's a trap!
Celui-là a ricoché.
Lols.
It's a trap!
So, like, one of the things you could do is you could run to this area over here.
On va l'avoir. Continue à tirer.
It's a trap!
Ils sont seulement touchés.
I'm not sure why he didn't do this right off the bat, which is basically just charge you. But
Cible acquise.
lol.
Ils sont touchés.
You'll reload before him.
Cible détruite.
Lols. And then see if you can spot where the JPE is at. Although you basically just need to not get surprised by him. And you'll be fine. And then just get a track shot. It's really... You want him to try to come over the hill and get a track shot. That's really all you need to do. Oh, what are you doing? There he goes. There he goes. Oh, that wasn't the track shot you were looking for. Oh, and he rushed his shot.
Cible acquise.
Oh, he didn't even need to shoot you. All he had to do was run into you. Don't run into him though, because otherwise that will kill you.
On a
GG. So I thought you played that pretty well. You played forward on the 3 line. Your team was pretty passive over here. I think a lot of the problems that people have playing the west side of Redshire is that they don't play the 1-3 lines appropriately. You want to be about wherever your teammates are on the 3, that's where you want to be on the 1, or if you're the guy on the 3 line. Wherever your teammates are on the 1, that's about where you want to be on the 3. You don't want to be out here like forward on the 3 if you don't have anybody on the 1, because like as that E100 pushes forward, he's going to get good shots on you. But both of the E100s on both of the teams weren't very good at this game. So basically what they did, their E100 just kept driving forward right here. Like if you ever see me play Redshire, it's really easy to stop at these rocks right here and just absolutely punish people that are in this area right here. You just make their lives completely miserable. These rocks shield you from shots from over here. It shields you from artillery. And it's a really good position to play. Similarly, once their E100 YOLO'd in and died, your E100 YOLO'd in down this way. Once this E100 gets to this F area right here, you can shoot into this area really easily. You can punish them really easily, and that's why the 1 line and the 3 line work really well together in that sense. But just like their E100, he decided to return the favor and he just YOLO'd down here and got himself killed. Although he did get a shot once he was like down here, he got a shot back up here towards the waffle. But that's not really the shots that you're looking for. And it's the same configuration down here. They've basically added rocks down here that will shield you while you shoot the rest of their team. Right? The only thing that you're vulnerable to are other people on the 1 line. And then after that, I thought you did mostly okay. I think there was once the entire pocket was collapsing at the beginning of that, you spent a little bit too much time fixated on things other than trying to keep your teammates alive. Like you had a pocket over here of teammates. And I'm not saying that you had to drive in there and get yourself killed in order to save them, but like, for example, the Wheezy 132 that was over here was in the open. Their JPE that was starting to cross over here was in the open to get through the back side of your team. The AMX 30 over here was in the open, and instead what you chose to do was you chose to engage on this side against a WZ 131 that you should have already killed, right? That was the other thing, is that if you went with your T62A, both of those guys would be dead, and that WZ 131 wouldn't have been there to shoot you in the rear. But you chose to fixate instead on this WZ-131 and this Tiger 2 over here, neither of which were really hurting your team. But you were getting encapsulated at the time, and the important thing is that you need to recognize when you're starting to get surrounded and be able to break out to one side or the other. And then it was just fortuitous that they came at you one at a time in a very honorable fashion, but you took advantage of it, and that's what's important. If that's how they're going to play it, yeah, again, they didn't even need to put 2 guys on cap, but you know, when you started going south, if they put even 1 guy on cap, you lose that game. Like, that game is done. But that's not how they decided to play it, and so, you know, that's the difference in the game. And so if we look at the stats, almost 11k damage is good. You were very efficient with your shots, which is always what we like to say. And I felt like you played reasonably aggressive. I thought that your shots or your micro positioning in terms of which tanks you were going to have shots on were a little bit questionable. I think that you left yourself a little bit too open to some artillery shots in certain places as well. But you know, you had the positioning, you had enough positioning to win you the game, and so that's what's important. So, very good game. It was enjoyable to watch, and thank you for submitting it. I will send you a code through the official forums.